Good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Que-stead-Que. What you gonna do? I don't know, but something's gonna grow. Well, you guys, welcome to another episode of Que-stead-Que. I have the camera at an angle today. I have my cane, although I am on the walker, but I brought the cane out because the walker is a little difficult to maneuver across the grass. Although I do have a handicap spot there on my deck. If I go the other way, it's a straight shot. If I go the way that I normally go, where you've seen, there's a step there. So I'm just using the other way, even with the cane. So, but with the grass, it's no way. I could, it would take too much strength to try to come all the way around because it's a longer walk. So the cane has worked just fine. I'm gonna show y'all my new walk, y'all. Because, and actually it was worse than this, so it is improving a little bit. And like I said, the doctor wants me to continue to move so that I don't lose, so to speak. They say move it or lose it, you know, so he wants me to stay as mobile as I can, as you know, as long as I'm able to. He said, now if it's difficult or whatever, you know, he said, of course, don't push it that way. He said, but if you're not having any pain or anything stressful happening with your body, he said, continue to walk and use your mobility aids. He said, do not use the mobility aids at this time because I'm a fall risk. So the cane has actually worked pretty good for short distances. Like around the house, if I'm going from the living room to the bathroom or the kitchen or whatever, I typically use the cane. The walker is for when I go out, you know, which I haven't done in the past few days since Friday morning. I had to go to Myers, and then of course I snuck into Joann's. Was that Friday or Thursday? No, that was Friday, because Thursday I did go to Joann's anyway, but Friday I went back. And then that was it. And so basically I've been in ever since, and I will remain in until I have to go out again, which will probably be the 3rd. And I'm gonna be very careful when I do that. I need to get back to Menards to get that chicken stuff, but that's out because of the lifting. So I might get it, have them lift it to the car, and then I can always get someone to lift it out of the car to the wagon and to bring it to the greenhouse. But I do want to get that while it's cheap, because it's only $9.99 for a big giant bag. And I only bought that one bag of black cow, which I didn't even use with my amendments this year, but I want to get at least one more bag of it. They stop once it sells out. They get that one stock a year, and once it sells out, you won't see it again until the next year. So I wanted to get a second bag of that. So that's another thought, you know, that I can do. Excuse me. This mint water is good, y'all. But basically, those are the only two things that I need to do garden-wise. And I did want to get to either Depot or Lowe's. Lowe's tend to have better fruits. I wanted to see if I could find, because all my grapevines are gone now. I just tossed them. Sherry bought me one last year and it died over the winter. So I just tossed all the grapevines. So I want to see if I can find a grapevine, even if I have to pay full price, just one, that has the grapes coming. And lots of times they have that, where it has the little grapes already coming, to see if I can get them for this year to grow, and then study for next year to see how to get them to return. I always heard that grapevines are better in the ground, and I do have space to put some in the ground, but the animals would devour me. They would desecrate me, okay? So why do it? But if I can get some this year, I'll be happy, even if it means buying a plant every year just to get some doggone grapes on the vine. But I have a feeling if I get I might would put it in that big giant, you know, the other barrel planter down there where I had the tree. I think a grapevine would do good in that. And then what I did learn is that you should, if your grapevine becomes root bound, you should pull it up and then trim the roots. I heard that on a video last year. And then the pigeon peas, although they're perennial, I don't think they're going to come back next year. None of my the only perennials in the greenhouse that has come back are some of the herbs. That's it. But the rest of them don't. It just gets too cold in here. And then with this plastic and all that, it's going to just get worse throughout the years. And I see it rained again, so let me push the water out. Hold on, y'all. I didn't even know it rained. Okay, I'm using my cane to do it. And y'all can hear it. Okay. Yeah, my plastic, the roof is sagging now. It's not holding like it did. You know, last year, although it wasn't as tight as it should have been, it was tighter than this because water, it pooled a little bit, but not too much. But then again, this year, the rain has just been horrible. I looked at our 14-day weather forecast, and if it's true, and so far, our weather forecast and my trusty barometer hasn't failed me yet. We have been cold. This whole month of May has just been horrible. It was more or less like the month of March because of the flu, the coldness, the rain constant, and then April was actually better for us than May. Okay, now we're heading into June. This week, well, today is 70, and it's currently, I cooled the greenhouse down because I have the door open there. But the greenhouse, when I first walked in here, it was 90, which wasn't bad. And now it's 85. I'm looking at it now. It's 85 in here now. We have today's high was 70. Tomorrow's high is supposed to be 68, but you may as well say 70 because it's going to be sunny. So you know it's going to hit 70 tomorrow. Then it's going to be like 59 on Tuesday with clouds and rain. And from there, it's getting ready to break loose. I think it's going to be 78 Wednesday, 80 Thursday, and it just keeps climbing. It went up to, my weather thing went up until, not this Wednesday, but the following Wednesday. That's where it stopped. And it showed by the following Wednesday, it's supposed to be like 87. So here comes the heat, okay? And so heat is bad for MS. So I'm going to prepare my air conditioner. The only thing I need to do with that, my late brother-in-law taught me, he said you take your water hose and you wash the outside of it, wash along the vents and all that, and you would be amazed at all the crud that comes out of it, you know, from trees and different things. And what that does is it opens up everything and it cleans it. I do that every year. I've been doing that for the past 5 years. I did it at my old home and I do it here, and your air conditioner will blow cooler. Guess who just found out that their air conditioner compressor went out? Sherry. So it's suffrage time. Although she has the warranty, it's air condition repair season, so she's going to be waiting, okay? And she can't call until Tuesday. So I told her, I was like, the heat's finna kick in. I was like, well, you can always get cool. She can come here. She's like, well, we'll just go down to the lower level of the house, you know. I was like, well, if it gets too hot or whatever, I said, you know how to cool off. I was like, nighttime is going to be the worst part for you. I said, but hopefully it'll cool off still in the night, you know, because she might be waiting most of the summer to get that air conditioner fixed. So hopefully, knock on wood, they can get it done quickly. But with it being the compressor, you know, she may as well try to buy a new one because she's lived in her house 20 years, but she wants to sell in a couple of years. So we'll see. And I found out we're not leaving Michigan because when we talked about it, you know, we had talked about it before, and she's like, keep your house up. She was like, try to keep it, you know, up, you know, to par and whatnot. She's like, don't let it go down. She said, because in a couple of years, we're going to be moving. She was like, there's no way I can leave Michigan and leave you here. You'll have to follow us. I was like, hey, if it's to a warmer climate, let's do it. So we had talked about Atlanta because her son lives in Atlanta. And at one time, my niece lived in Atlanta, but then she moved back once she found out that she was expecting. So she came back this way. And so she's settled here now. She since bought a home and everything and all that. And that was 2 years ago because her son is 2 years old now. But anyway, then we talked about South Carolina. We've talked about North Carolina. Sherry's other son lived there for a while, but he came back. And then he bought a condo. So I guess he's here, but I think he's selling the condo now, but he's looking for another one. But right now here in Michigan. And so Sherry's like, well, she was like, Jason, he may come back. She was like, so I don't want to go to Atlanta. So she was like, I've been here for 60 years. She was like, and I started thinking about my age. I was like, yeah, Sherry. I was like, we're seniors now. Sherry was like, it dawned on me the other day. She's 62. I'll be 61 in July. And she was like, it dawned on me. She was like, we don't have but maybe 20 years left. I was like, tell me about it. I was like, I probably don't even have that much myself. I said, so yeah, I was like, we may as well just stay here. We're used to it. As long as we can have that snow handled, you know, we're okay. So I really don't mind the winter because usually I'm in. I was out more last winter than any year. Usually I am in for the winter. And I know y'all have heard me say that. I don't go out. I usually stock up with everything. I'll run up to Myers or something like that if I have to. I usually fill my tank up. And usually I am a hermit in the wintertime. I might go out if I have to go to the doctor or the hospital. And usually I don't go to the doctor in the winter. If I'm doing okay, I'm in for the winter, and they see me again in March. I usually do my last appointments in November, and I'm already scheduled now for my November appointments. Now, I'm going to have to do this blood because I'm going to have to get the blood draw for the next 6 months. So this is May. I got my first one. June, July, August, September, November will be my last blood draw. And then after that is yearly. So I'll be wrapping it up in November, hopefully, if nothing else happens or whatever. But hopefully this year I can do that. Last year, it was a whole different ball game. It was like I was out every other day. And y'all know it. I was always at Myers, but we didn't have that bad of a winter either. You know, we had that one little snowstorm, and that was it. Our winter was actually very mild last year. But, you know, anything can happen. But anyway, let me get on to this. Okay, so I'm going to show y'all. First of all, I'm getting ready to take the rest of the tool. I went on and brought my tool out. So I have 3 more bolts right here that I need to put in the spot. And my little spot is over there. So altogether, I have 8 bolts of tool. And then all that's in the bag, which are half bolts. So I just went on and brought it out. The plants are doing excellent, and more flowers popped out on the one I transplanted yesterday. I guess that plant was just screaming for transplantation. Is that a word? Transplantation? It was just screaming, and I see it needs a little water. I have the hose on, so I'll give him a little squirt. And I'll give Sherry's plants a little squirt. They're doing good. I see a flower developed on one of the tomatoes. So Sherry, she gets the 2 ground cherries, the biggest one. She gets 3 of the cherry tomatoes. And then I gave her, it's called a dwarf container cherry tomato. I told her I took one of them, and then she has the other. So that's her extra one. And she was like, okay. She was like, that's fine with me. So I went on yesterday. I went on and got my stuff transplanted yesterday, so I'm gonna show you that. And then I got the, I got the peppers, the ground cherries, the tomatoes, and then I still have an empty crate there that's already amended. I'm gonna use that. Oh, I have to put my ground cherry. No, I have another one, another empty crate. That's where the ground cherry was. I'm just letting it grow a little bit more. I might stick those shallots in there, depending. But what I did yesterday, those onions that the lady gave me as a harvest, they had a bulb on it, but the bulb was like only the size of a golf ball. I said, and they have the little stalks, and I'm gonna show you that. We're gonna walk down there. But anyway, it has the little bloom like the garlic gets, the onion bloom. I've never grown onions before. And so since they had bloomed, I still need y'all to tell me, can I chop those blooms off and eat that? Because I can use that for tomorrow, actually, because Sherry's doing some veggie packs. So if that can be eaten, I can chop them off and then,